All right, I'm going to call this meeting to order. We will start with the consent agenda. All the following items which concern reports and items of a routine nature normally approved at AHA meetings will be approved by one vote. As any trustee desires to have a separate vote on any or all of these items. Consent agenda consists of the discussion, consideration, and action on the following items. Minutes of the monthly finance meeting on July 25th, 2016. Minutes of the monthly trustee meeting on July 26th, 2016. Minutes of the trustee special meeting on July 28th, 2016. And a check report July 8th, 2016 through August 7th, 2016.
I move we approve the consent agenda.
I second it.
Have a motion by Dr. Brown, a second by Dr. Kinsey to approve the consent agenda as it was presented. Roll call vote, please.
Gaspard,
Yes.
Hannaford,
Yes.
Kinsey,
Yes.
Sanderson,
Yes.
Simon,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Klein.
Yes.
All right, we'll start with the CEO's report. Candace?
That right. While not lengthy, pretty exciting getting ready in the past month to open Dr. Lawrence's clinic. Last Friday was his first day in clinic. It's been busy, staff getting ready, pulling all that together. So we're pretty excited to finally get that up and running. He is booked out. We are taking appointments, I think, maybe around the 25th now for new patient appointments of people that are not ill. If they are ill, we will go ahead and squeeze them in now. So that's kind of how we're scheduling that clinic. His office is in the urgent care area, and that seems to be working nicely. He can run over to ER. He can be there to oversee the urgent care provider, and the urgent care provider then can act as an extension of his clinic as well. So it seems to be working well. EHR status report. We have not been given any more information on the reporting period being changed to the 90 days. E-clinicals. It's a work in progress. Dr. Kinsey, as well as Dr. Lawrence, both are working on getting templates in place to improve their patient flow and efficiency at being able to enter data into that record. It's, I know, been very tedious for both, and hopefully we can get those kinks worked out. Speaking of the clinics, we have 2 new people on board. Lynn is the manager in Dr. Kinsey's clinic, and she's working very hard to help out and get that clinic flowing smoothly and getting paid for the work that Dr. Kinsey does. Carrie Culvert is the manager for the downtown clinic, and that seems to be going well. She said that they seem to be getting a lot of Dr. Culvert's patients back, and that makes us happy to hear that. So we've been hearing good things about that as well. Really, that's about all I have. You guys have any questions for me?
There are no questions for Candace. I would entertain a motion to approve for this report.
Make a motion to approve and accept the Shared Medical Center written report for August 16, 2016.
Second.
Have a motion by Dr. Hannaford, a second by Terry Klein to approve the Shared Medical Center written report for August 16, 2016. Roll call vote, please.
Hannaford,
Yes.
Kinsey,
Yes.
Sanderson,
Yes.
Simon,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Klein,
Yes.
Gaspard.
Yes. All right, thank you, Candace. Next is the CFO's report. Kevin?
Okay, for the month of July, we had gross revenue of $1,733,433. which is an increase of $113,500 compared to the prior month. The hospital seen an increase in charges of $88,908. The nursing home had an increase of charges of $27,141, and the homestead seen a small decrease of $2,549. One of the reasons that we did see our increase was because of patient days. For July, we had 157 patient days compared to 67 in June. We did actually see a decrease in office visits from 1,116 in June to 973 in July, but that was due, Dr. Kinsey had some vacation time, so we had a physician out for over a week, and that makes a difference in our clinic visits. Nursing home average improved, went from 46.8 in June up to 50.3, and we will talk about it. It's actually doing even better than that. Contractuals for the month of July were 46.6% of gross patient revenue. We wrote off $93,531 to the collection agency. Salaries and wages total $519,345. There is a correction in your notes. It should be an increase of $89,664 compared to the prior month. But the reason that that's such a large amount, if you remember last month, we only do the PTO accrual once a year, and I actually had a $30,000 decrease from the PTO from year to year. So when you take that into account, if you look back, we actually seen a $29,000 increase in salaries and wages. Almost all that's attributed to, we finally got our nurse practitioners in the emergency room. You'll notice that our purchase services actually went down. So the wages had to go in there, as well as we did contract with weekend with Dr. Lawrence. So salaries and wages went up because our purchase services went down. So you'll see that as well. We had a net operating loss for July of $235,137. Net loss from all operations after sales tax and other contributions of $160,374. We had cash on hand at the end of July of $109,705, which is 3.3 days. Our accounts receivable did increase by $136,360. We're up to $3,224,000. Days increased by 6.7 gross, and net days increased by 5.7. Accounts payable was $646,103. That represented 44.2 days worth of operating expenses. I guess if you want to turn over to page 3, you can kind of see the 2 years side to side. Last year, we almost had identical revenue and actual net. The difference was in our operating expenses, and we discussed those at the finance committee, kind of what some of those changes were in our wages and stuff. We added the clinics and stuff, so that, I mean, that's part of the wage increases. We've had some salary changes with some of our providers as far as some of the care that we had to do. And then the other expenses is in the ER contract labor and stuff like that. So that's where we've seen a lot of the increases in that. And then actually our supplies was up due to the fact that we had a really bad pharmacy month as far as pharmacy goes. We had to give, we had some really expensive drugs that we had to issue. So we normally run about $17,000 worth of pharmacy supplies. We spent $31,000 for the month. So that was just a run of bad things, from heart attacks like TNK and Activase and stuff like that, and Crofab that we had to give out to patients. So we've seen that increase as well. Like I said, right now, this year, we're at $162,374 loss compared to last year at this time for the first month of $18,485. The hospital, if you turn over to page 6, that's the 2 years side by side. Last year we had a net loss of $13,420. This year $162,166. The nursing home, last year we lost $6,883 for the month. This year we're at $11,463. The homestead, last year we had a net profit of $1,800. This year at $13,256. If you turn over to page 11, one of the things that's going to be positive in the upcoming months is, if you look at the unbilled, we were at $821,000. You can see back in February we were down at $457,000. As of today, we're at $334,000. So we got all of those accounts billed off. We got everything worked out with Dr. Rader to get all that flowing really well. So we will see a definite improvement in our cash flow position in the coming months, and we should see accounts receivable actually going the other direction as well. Pages 13, 14 is your balance sheet, and then pages 15 on is your statistical summary. So, Also, I was gonna let you know, we did have the auditors out here last week. The audit is pretty much completed. They're still gonna be working on the cost report. And we tentatively want to try to do the feedback from the auditors or the report on the 24th of October is kind of what they would like to do. And so that's something that we can talk about in the meeting we have for the board meeting, so, by a week.
Are there any questions for Kevin? Kevin, you might just not know that we discussed in finance about it. We tried to do it. We will be having to deal with the boilers. That's not a choice, that's just something we are going to have to be doing. So not knowing exactly how all that's going to happen or when all that's going to happen, but there may be like a special board meeting or something of that nature that has to come up if we need to do something in a timely fashion on that. And that'll be an expense that be pretty significant for us that we'll have to deal with as well. So. Any other questions for Kevin? If not, Kevin, thank you. Next is the Medical Staff Executive Committee. Dr. Kinsey.
The Medical Staff Executive Committee met on August 16th. It's always a very exciting event now that it's Dr. Self and me. But thankfully we've had a lot of, our PDAs and nurse practitioners show up quite a bit, and they've been giving us a lot of feedback. It's been a pretty useful meeting. I really feel like we talk a lot about how things are operating here in the hospital and the clinics, and have been getting a lot done at the meetings. I'll just review our minutes for a moment. We talked a little bit about the patient portal and meaningful use. This is a big deal in the eClinicalWorks along with the hospital. And one of the things that we've looked at is that a lot of people don't like using patient portals. That extra layer of security that comes with the patient portal also comes with a lot of annoyance. And so even though we're supposed to be using patient portals and encouraging people to use patient portals, they tend to not want to use it. So we still want to encourage people to use patient portals, as people call the clinic now. And they ask for lab values or things like that. We're encouraging them to get into their patient portal and check that. It's not that difficult to use. It's more that getting the password, keeping the password, and using the password, and getting through that extra layer of security. But the security is important, as we see all the time in the news. Even hospitals have their security breached. And so we want people to choose complex passwords for their own personal security when they get a password for their portal. We had the program director of AirVac come by, and one of the things that we talked to them about was their program, their membership service. It's not an insurance, it's a membership service. The key is that AirVac Life Team are the two AirVac services that are tied together. And if one of those companies is called and you are a member and you've paid your membership dues for one of those companies, then your copay is waived if the doctor felt like there was medical necessity for the helicopter to be called. But if you have a different helicopter service called or ground fixed wing service called, then even though you have a membership in one service, you might not have yourself covered. So that was an important kind of distinction that we were trying to talk about there. And another thing is that just because you have a membership in the helicopter service does not mean that you're automatically eligible to always be transferred by helicopter, that you have to have a reason to be transferred by helicopter in order for that service to kind of kick in and that membership to be eligible for it. So if you have a broken toenail, you're not going to be transferred by helicopter. But if you do have something that we feel is urgent, then you can be transferred that way, and your membership will kick in.
Hey, Dr. Kinsey, while you're on that point, so if you have air evac, but say Eagle Med comes in with a fixed wing, it's not covered. Is it what you just said?
Correct, they're two,
Okay.
those are two separate
Did it
services.
used to be that they said that they would do it either way? Wasn't there a period?
Aerovac and Life Team are tied.
Maybe that's what it is.
Yeah, so they are they have a couple other small companies that are also tied to them, and if any one of their companies comes in, then they're covered under that membership, but Eagle Med is not.
Not.
Is it just luck of the draw who you get, or is there one that people in Alva should prefer because it
You can,
serves us more?
yeah, actually, Aerovac Life Team is the closest,
Okay,
and they're usually the one that we call first.
okay.
But if they're busy, you might, and if it's an emergency, we're gonna call whoever we can get, and especially if we need a fixed wing, those are harder to get.
Thank you.
So, I'm gonna skip past credentialing just for a minute, because we'll come back to that. And I'm gonna skip past copy, I guess, and I'm gonna skip past all the rest, because we'll do it separately. Okay, so back to credentialing. The credentialing committee recommends reappointment of the following members. So I move that we reappoint to courtesy staff Donald Ransom, DO. He's a surgeon who comes here.
Second.
We have a motion by Dr. Kinsey, a second by Hayla Simon to reappoint to courtesy staff Donald Ransom, D.O. Roll call vote, please.
Kinsey,
Yes.
Sanderson,
Yes.
Simon,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Klein,
Yes.
Casper,
Yes.
Hannaford,
Yes.
I move that we reappoint to allied staff Marissa Endersby, CRNA. That's a, I was just going to mention that she's a nurse anesthetist that works with Dr. Ransom. That's okay. That's okay. I appreciate it.
I have a motion by Dr. Kinsey, a second by Hayla Simon to reappoint to allied staff Marissa Endersby, CRNA. Roll call vote, please.
Sanderson,
Yes.
Simon,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Klein,
Yes.
Casper,
Yes.
Hannaford,
Yes.
Kinsey,
Yes. I move that we reappoint to allied staff Gwyneth Holderby. She's a nurse practitioner who was working in our urgent care but now works in the professional building in our clinic.
Second.
I have a motion by Dr. Kinsey, a second by Hayla Simon to reappoint to allied staff Gwyneth Holderby, APRN. Roll call vote, please.
Simon,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Klein,
Yes.
Casper,
Yes.
Hannaford,
Yes.
Kinsey,
Yes.
Sanderson.
Yes.
And I also move that we appoint to courtesy staff Kelly Mossberg. She's an optometrist who works with Dr. Smith downtown. Her privileges will allow her to see patients here in the hospital from time to time.
Second.
I have a motion by Dr. Kinsey, a second by Hayla Simon to appoint to courtesy staff Kelly Mossberg, OD. Roll call vote, please.
Brown,
Yes.
Klein,
Yes.
Casper,
Yes.
Hannaford,
Yes.
Kinsey,
Yes.
Sanderson,
Yes.
Simon,
Then we reviewed the QAPI meeting. The most important thing that we talked about in QAPI was really what we call interqual, which is as patients come in through the emergency room, the decision needs to be made whether a patient is formally admitted to the hospital or put in observation status. As we've had a lot of providers come through the emergency room, we kind of moved away from using the interqual software that we have to make that determination, and we've just been making the determination, which leaves us a little bit open when they come back to challenge it. So we want to get back to using interquals so that we have something to back us up when we're challenged on whether an admission should have been an actual admission or observation. So we're going to get back on that. And that was the most important thing there. And then finally, along with that really, is that Medicare is requiring that we notify all patients who are placed on observation status that they are indeed on observation status. And there's a formal document that they have to have signed saying that they understand that they're in observation, that they are not admitted to the hospital. That means they're still an outpatient, really. They're just getting services that happen to be in the hospital until we decide if they need to be admitted or not. That document is amongst your stuff. It's called the Moon document.
There should be packets on the center of some.
Is it in the center of the table? Oh, sorry. But we need to approve that document as a board.
Yeah.
You got it?
So they sign this, but if you admit them, then do they sign another document or?
If their status changes, then they'll be Part A, and so it's not, their charges are not so bad, so it's not as,
The part is, it's very confusing for a patient when they come to the hospital to know if they're inpatient or observation. Observation normally has more co-insurances and the stuff assigned to them, and there's some other things that go along with that. So what it explains to them that they could be responsible for self-administered drugs, or they could be responsible that those nights don't count towards their 3-night stay to become a swing bed patient, stuff like that. So it's really explaining to the patient kind of what their rights are, is what it's doing. We just have to make sure that they understand what's going on.
so when they become Part A, that no longer matters. There's nothing else to sign when they become Part A, because then all their Part A benefits kick in. But this one makes it understood that their Part A benefits are not kicking in yet, that their co-pays for Part B are still in effect and all of that. So I move that we approve the Moon document, as it's called.
Second.
We have a motion by Dr. Kinsey, a second by Dr. Hannaford to approve the Moon document. Any other discussion on that? If not, roll call vote, please.
Klein,
Yes.
Casper,
Yes.
Hannaford,
Yes.
Kinsey,
Yes.
Sanderson. Yes. Simon.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
And that's all I have?
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Kinsey. Contract review.
Patient care.
It is behind patient care tab. Were there any issues?
They're all-
Anything that we need to know different than what's in front of us, saying what's been compliant and what wasn't applicable, one not applicable? Good.
Yeah.
Any questions? Okay, if not, we'll move on to the next item. Next item, Rita, Sheriff Convalescent Home Report, please.
Hi. Well, we've been busy. We, as of today, had a census of 55, that's 53 long-term care and 2 skilled. For August, we've ran close to those numbers all month, which is exciting, but sometimes complicated. But anyway, we're happy for that. As you know, April and May, August and September are horrific changeovers for our staffing due to school and their needs and what we can provide for them. Christy is working hard, trying to interview. We have 6 new employees, and I think there's 3 ready to be interviewed, and hopefully we'll get those. And if the college kids come this week and next week like they're coming, I'm sure we'll have more applications come in. Tentatively for our schedule for September, it looks like there's about 25 openings that will be put out for the staff that we need staffing for. However, there are 7 employees that have not given us their hours. So after I talked to you, Kevin, I think it even looks more positive, maybe not having to use agency nursing. We're looking at our MDS process. Those new regulations come into effect for October 1st, and so we're just kind of shoring up, making sure we're following what the new guidelines will be. Kristen Neverez was in training in the city for a week, and she is now a certified activity director, which we need that we needed that desperately. She's been doing that job, and they allow her some time to get certified, and she's now certified. I think that's it.
Any questions for Rita? If not, Rita, thank you. Next item, the homestead report, Kelly.
As Kevin mentioned, our volume was a little bit down, but we had some pretty good decreases in expenses as well. We cut our food expenses back quite a bit. The report is actually in your board packet. We found out after it was submitted that we were actually even another $1,400 less than what we had originally reported. Some of the stuff got moved to the homestead instead of split between the hospital and nursing home, but that's all going to be corrected, and so our expenses were even better controlled than we thought. We kind of had a slow couple months on inquiries between May and June. July we picked up I noticed another error. We actually had 5 new inquiries in July, and then so far to date in August, we've had 7 inquiries and 2 move-ins that weren't anticipated at the end of July. So it's been a busy first couple weeks. We've hired a new resident services coordinator who started this week, and we're getting her trained and oriented to all the things we do at the homestead. Activities coming up, we'll be participating in the communities and the university's Paint the Town Red event. I'm sorry, I don't have the date in front of me, but essentially it's 24th, on the 24th, and that was fun last year. Didn't have a whole lot of participation last year, but it got rescheduled a couple times due to weather, so this year should hopefully be better. They told me they're not going to reschedule it. They're just playing the rain if they have to. We're also trying to get some an event on site. Maybe some cars come through from when the car show's in town next month. Have a little mini car show out at the homestead, and I think our residents will really like that. And then as kind of a promotion, open house type deal for homecoming, both Gold Bugs and Rangers are right there together, 29th or the 30th in September and 1st of October. So we're going to welcome back classes of 1976 and before, Ranger or Gold Bug, and we probably won't check IDs, but to have breakfast with us before the parade on Saturday. So hopeful that that's well attended. We'll be getting some more word out, and I've been talking with the university as far as communicating with their alumni who may be returning for the homecoming. So should see increased revenue when we report our August figures, and maybe some of these others. I'm giving another tour tomorrow night, so maybe some of these other inquiries are going to pan out pretty quickly. So,
All right.
Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Kelly? All right. Thank you, Kelly. Anything from the foundation?
Just want to mention, we've been, I've mentioned it before in here, but we've worked on having a major charitable estate planning education event for our community to focus on both the nonprofit boards and helping us work together as a community with our nonprofit boards, as well as working with attorneys and financial advisors on some of the issues with charitable estate planning, and then with the general public, educating them on some of the benefits. We will be having a meeting tomorrow morning at Northwest Tech to discuss plans to have continuing education opportunity for, it's approved by the Oklahoma Bar Association, is that what it is? Okay, for continuing education credits with regard to their ethics requirements as well as some other education requirements. And that will be an offering that we are going to be, if we move forward with it, and I think we will, it'll be in conjunction with the Salvation Army and working together with their resources to have qualified speakers and presenters, and they're essentially doing all the legwork, and we're just helping them provide space to do the training here in Alva, which fits into what our vision was for more education in the community.
Okay. Anybody have any questions in regards to that? If not, thank you, Kelly. Next, for the St. Anthony's report, we have with us tonight Chuck Schilling. Not quite as cute as Bridget, but he is here nonetheless.
Oh, that's a letdown.
Thank you for being here, Chuck.
No problem.
I find him to be more attractive.
Is it warm in here? Thank you for having me. Bridget and I share responsibilities of attending the board meetings, and tonight, well, actually today we stacked at 3, Holdenville and Shattuck and Alva. So we drew straws, and I lucked out and got Alva, and Bridget had to go to Shattuck tonight. They moved their meeting due to some external conflicts. So I'm going to try to make it here more often. Candace and I have worked on a couple of projects over the years, and for those, well, none of you know me, but I'm actually, my full-time, my day job is I'm president of the hospital in Shawnee, and I've been there quite a long time. And Joe Hodges, our regional president, asked me to, as the executive, take over the affiliate network, predominantly because I've spent my whole life in rural Oklahoma, and I know for you all, Shawnee's not rural, but for us it is. And so I have a firsthand, direct understanding of the challenges that communities like this face in running a hospital, and it's never been harder than it is today, and I don't expect it's going to get easier. So there are times that we have resources that we can bring to the table that don't cost anything. That's what I enjoy. As we came into the system 4 years ago when we were acquired by SSM. We were a freestanding 501c3 not-for-profit community hospital, and my board, I reported to a board just like Candace does, made the decision that it was time to align with somebody that had the ability to weather the storms that were ahead of us, and so they made that decision, and we became wholly acquired by SSM Health, which is the parent company for St. Anthony and Oklahoma City. And I will tell you, it's having been on both sides of the equation, it's been a great 4 years because I've got access to resources and expertise that before the only way you got it was to pay an outside consultant. And typically the bidding there starts at somewhere between $150 and $300 an hour, and it doesn't take long to eat up a budget when you do that. So the point of this is for us to be accessible and available and identify ways that we can help you as a hospital and as an organization survive what's coming down the road, because it's not going to get any easier. It's going to get worse.
So if you'll remember, I'll refresh your memory, Chuck is the one who provided the resources for us when we came on to Meditech and could not get a bill out the door. Chuck put boots on the ground here, his people on the ground to help us sort that out and get bills out the door. So you can remember those frustrating, tearful times. He got to listen to that.
Well, I was going to say that's when she had a lot more hair, but that's a whole different story. I am fortunate. I've got some great people that work for me, and I get to take credit for what they do. And we put a couple of people up here that, in all honesty, because they've looked at it for so long, it was easy. It's just that sometimes fresh eyes finds things that it's hard to see. And we've been through that implementation process that you've been through here. So we truly know what that's like. And we enjoy helping.
We appreciate
We're getting ready to work on another project.
Yes, we are.
All right, any questions for Chuck? If not, Chuck, thank you.
You're welcome.
Appreciate you coming. Next, city council report.
Really just two things. We had a very quick meeting last night, but I told you we did hire a new EMS director, and it's Marty Graham. Who's coming from Woodward EMS and dispatch, and he is a paramedic, so we're excited to have him on board. And the other thing was the planning commission did submit I think 20 questions to Integris for their application. That has been submitted to them, and I believe the date that we have to have a decision on from the council is September 19th. So those are really kind of the only two that.
A decision from the planning committee?
No, I think it has to go to council by September
Right.
19th. So that from the planning commission will come quicker than that.
Okay.
And I don't know what the time frame was to get the information back, but
Joe Don had just stated that a planning commission meeting would be scheduled upon receipt of a response.
right. So other than that, that's all I have.
Okay, thank you, Bill. One thing that I will bring up, two items. Number one, this Friday, from 12 to 1:30, there's an open house up here for Dr. Lawrence. It'd be great if we can come up and support. No, just go ahead and post it as a no business meeting.
Okay.
Probably what time?
Go ahead and post it, 12 to 1:30.
Yeah.
Go ahead and post it downtown that it's a
No business.
No business. meeting. That way, if 4 of us are here at the same time, it's not an issue. But anyways, please plan on doing that, welcoming him. If you've got any other, I know he came to Rotary last week and spoke. Lynn, I talked to you about, see if we can get him into Kiwanis, if we got any other ideas to be able to present him and introduce him to the public, that would be great. And then in October, the planned or scheduled AHA meeting is the 18th. So that we can get the audit in, we need to move that to the 25th of October, correct?
Yes.
As long as that's a Tuesday, that's correct.
Yeah, it's actually in the calendar wrong. What is it?
So we're changing it to which day?
Hold on.
25th of
From the
October?
18th to the 25th.
I don't have to worry about
Yeah, the 25th.
it.
25th is a Tuesday.
Yes,
Okay.
next month's.
Other than that, I do not have any other items, and there are no items of new business. We are adjourned.
Are you John?